call the March 17th, 2022 Urban Renewal Agency meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Director Johns, if you could call the roll, please.
Thank you, Vice Chair Davis. Davis?
Here.
Crosby?
Here.
Clemenson?
Here.
Fleshman?
Here.
Cheltness?
Here.
And Chairman Baltzell and Commissioner Coles have excused absences.
Very good. If you all would please rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. All right. Next is ceremonies, appointments, and announcements. Do we have anything today?
We do not.
Not. Very good. All right. Next on the agenda is conflict disclosures. Do any of the commissioners have conflicts to disclose? Moving right along. Item number 4 is a consent calendar.
Good morning, Vice Chair Davis and Commissioners. Item A in the consent calendar is the Commission meeting minutes of February 17th, 2022. Item B is the payables for this month totaling $1,020,853.77. This amount includes $1,014,711.75 for the Highway 41 traffic signals project. Item C is the bank activity report, which shows total funds in all accounts of $3,897,718.13 and accrued interest for the month of $545.18. Item D is the financial reports as of February 28th. Approval of the consent calendar will authorize a transfer of $1,020,853.77 to the First Interstate checking account for the monthly payables and $545.18 accrued interest to the general fund. Ms. Vice Chair, I would answer any questions.
Do we have any questions from the commission?
I don't see the minutes of the workshop included in the package. Is that an oversight, or were they sent out separately?
The workshop that I referred to in our earlier meeting with Finance and Policy, I believe was our January 3rd workshop discussion. We did not have a workshop in early February.
My notes indicate it was the 3rd of February. Was that word?
Commission workshop? Yeah, it actually says it in the consent calendar. Commission workshop, February 3rd.
I am remiss in including those then.
Could you send those out?
I absolutely will. Would you like me to, what should I then include those in the March consent calendar for approval?
I think we should.
I would think so, yeah. We'll just
Okay.
exclude it from the consent calendar today.
Okay. So I will add February 3rd workshop to March consent.
Is there any other questions or comments on the consent calendar? If not, we'd entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the consent calendar as presented and discussed.
Second the motion.
All right, I think that's a roll call vote.
Crosby?
Aye.
Clemenson?
Aye.
Fleshman?
Aye.
Cheltness?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye. All right, next up, we've got the committee updates, Finance and Policy. Commissioner Crosby?
The Finance Committee reviewed the financial reports that we've just approved. We also had a meeting this morning at 8 o'clock where we went over and reviewed the payment to the city for the Highway 41 signals, which we're going to make. I think that was part of the consent calendar for today.
Yes, sir.
And that's appropriate to pay off that entire balance because the city's already advanced those funds for to ITD for those traffic signals, and they're being installed. That's all I have to report.
Very good.
Thank you.
Since Commissioner Coles is not here, does anyone from the district review have anything to report? I'm on that committee. I'll say we have nothing to report. We did not meet. And next up is Communications, Property, and Personnel. We also have nothing to report from that committee. All right, item 6 on the agenda is citizens' comments. This section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the commission regarding an agency-related issue. Comments related to future public hearings should be held for that public hearing, and persons wishing to speak will have 5 minutes. Does anyone? No? All right, seeing none, I think we'll move on to unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business?
We do not.
Quiet. All right, I guess we'll move on to new business. Item 8, we have the East Post Falls District update of Cecil Road projects by city engineer. Very good. Good to see you, Rob.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. Robert Paulus, Assistant City Engineer. Been before you before on the 2 projects that the Urban Renewal Agency and the City of Post Falls entered into an agreement to develop and bring out to construction. Earlier this week, the City Council authorized city staff to advertise both projects. The first one that we're going to talk about is the Poleline and Cecil Roundabout. Just for some background familiarity, this is at the intersection of Poleline and Cecil Road over by the Post Falls High School, which is in the southwest corner. In the immediate vicinity, we do have a elementary school a half-mile to the west, the Genesis Prep Academy about a quarter-mile to the southeast, and then we have 2 city parks, one existing, the Tullamore Park, and one that's under development, which is the Tullamore Sports Complex, which will be a mile to the north of here. Our engineering study showed that the preferred alternative for this location was to put in a multi-lane roundabout. Current markets with what availability of equipment, that is very much the preferred choice beyond the safety and capacity issues. Traffic signals right now are running around a year or higher from when you start the project to when you actually get the parts. This project also involves frontage improvements along Poleline Avenue to the west. 600 feet of that is in the Urban Renewal Agency, and 600 feet of it is outside of the agency boundary, and that would be funded by City of Post Falls developer cash out and impact fees. One add to the project was to restrict the student parking access onto Poleline Avenue by no longer allowing left turns. This was at the request of the school district, and their request for that was this will help with their bus traffic and access further down the roadway. It will allow students to utilize Cecil Road to distribute to the north and to the south, or if they want, they can utilize the roundabout to make a U-turn. Little safety history on here. We have a little bit less than 3 collisions per year looking at the most recent data available from the state, and that was from 2016 through 2020. Of particular note, once we hit 2020, the crash rate actually about doubled. A lot of those collisions, about 50% of them are the primary cause is either due to a failure to yield or stop or from people following too close. Not noted in here, but within the data, it was interesting that a lot of those failures to yield, stop, or following too close had a secondary cause, which was inattentive driving. You can speculate as to the reason why they were inattentive. One other thing that I was a little bit surprised at, I've received a lot of complaints over the years about the fence in the southeast corner and the problems it causes with visibility. Less than 5% of the collisions had vision as a primary or secondary cause. Thankfully, to date, there have been no pedestrians involved in any collisions in the last 5 years. It is a marked school zone with 20 miles per hour when flashing. We set those times at the street department based upon the times that kids are most likely to be walking to and from the school. And we installed a rapid flashing beacon back in 2020. That equipment will be utilized elsewhere if this project moves into full construction. Whoops, went the wrong way. Part of this project is because of the multi-lane roundabout, we want to build a project that's going to last and not just be throwaway. So a multi-lane roundabout will handle our projected transportation needs for about the next 20 years. If we went with a single lane roundabout, it would be almost obsolete within 5. We do need to have some right-of-way acquisition to accommodate a multi-lane roundabout. The agreement between Post Falls and the Urban Renewal Agency requires that any right-of-way acquisition is the city's requirement for costs, and we have verbal agreements from all 3 entities that require the right-of-way acquisition. And we will be presenting those to City Council with either a recommendation to award bid or a recommendation to reject bids if prices come in too high. History, Urban Renewal has agreed to fund up to $1.3 million. I say up to because a month ago we made an agreement to allow for some transference of funds between this project and the next project we'll be talking about. This project started back in April, May of 2001. Urban Renewal Agency approved their section of the MOU in May of 2021, and the City of Post Falls executed their portion in July. City Council, as I mentioned earlier, has authorized this project to go out for bid. The first advertisement will be in the newspaper tomorrow. We plan to open bids in the beginning of April and have a recommendation for award or denial at the second City Council meeting in April, based upon conversations with the school district to limit the impact to their operations. Construction would start after school completes in June, and then substantial completion would happen by August 24th to be done prior to school starting, and also to meet the funding requirements we have with you to be reimbursed. In the last year, we have seen numerous increases in cost, 20 to 30% across the board. When we put this project together, we were basing everything off of costs that we saw in 2020 and early 2021 bid openings. We may, and I'm not sure, but we'd like to see how the prices come in. Right now, this project has an engineer's estimate in the ballpark of about just under $1.7 million. So we may want to ask and see if you would be interested in possibly handling a bit of that overage. We know what the agreement says, but we can fund those differences. It gets a little bit tight. Before going on to the next project, any questions on the Poleline Cecil Roundabout?
One question in the southeast corner where that private property owner is, why is that just a single lane on that portion right there?
Our traffic volumes show that Cecil Road only needs to be a 3-lane section. As you come into a roundabout, you can get rid of the 3-lane. And so on Cecil Road, you have 1 lane coming in. Our transportation master plan shows also that Poleline Avenue from Cecil Road to Highway 41 will eventually need to be a 5-lane roadway. Right now, in order for us to get those additional lanes on the south side between Cecil and Highway 41 would require significant acquisitions of right-of-way, and in that corner, probably the purchase of the entire parcel. So our decision was, the traffic numbers show that we can survive a number of years without that additional lane in the eastbound direction. Most of your heavy traffic is coming to school in the morning, and the 2 lanes in the westbound direction serve better than having 2 lanes in the eastbound direction.
One other question was with the flashing beacon, crosswalks within the areas of roundabouts, for me as a driver, make me nervous to have a pedestrian present in the course of a roundabout, especially multi-lane roundabouts. You mentioned that the flashing beacon would be utilized elsewhere. Are there accommodations for the pedestrians to cross at different locations further away from the intersection in this case?
There is a pedestrian crossing further to the west to get to the high school. That currently has a single amber flashing beacon on it. We're going to be putting in a new rapid flashing beacon because they are significantly more effective than the round amber beacon at that location. And then with this roundabout, we'll be putting in rapid flashing beacons on every pedestrian crossing on that roundabout. We had discussions with the Federal Highway Administration in their Safety and Geometric Design Division with specific questions as to this location, with the close proximity to schools, as to what is the preferred alternative from a safety standpoint. Is it the roundabout or is it a traffic signal? Because we do have a lot of kids who are going to be going to and from school. The Federal Highway Administration said if you can get in a roundabout, the roundabout is the preferred option. And the reasons for that is a roundabout slows traffic down to around 20 miles per hour going through that roundabout. The flashing beacons help provide notification to a driver that someone is trying to cross, but we are slowing down traffic. One of the things a traffic signal does not do is if someone's running a red light, they don't slow down. Also, one of the biggest dangers to pedestrians at a traffic signal tends to be people who are making right turns. They're more focused on oncoming traffic or people from the left. They make the right turn, they don't pay attention to the pedestrian and hit the pedestrian. There's dangers either way. We can't make it perfectly safe, but our research shows that the roundabout is the preferred option, and it is significantly safer than a traffic signal when you look at vehicle safety as well as pedestrian.
Thank you.
What's your projected timing of the land acquisition required? Because that's obviously got to take place before you can even start construction.
We have verbal agreements with all parties. The agreement is with the Post Falls School District. They're just reviewing it from a legal standpoint. The church in the northeast quadrant has verbally agreed to it. Part of their charter and their larger organization requires that they have to take it to a vote of the congregation. And we're very optimistic that that's positive. We've addressed all of their issues and concerns on that. We're adjusting their driveway approach and relocating their sign, and there's some monetary compensation involved in that as well. But we've had, well, the city has had several meetings with them, and they have all been very productive. In the northwest corner, we would have had an agreement all completed. However, in February, that parcel went into sale, and due to the closing that was forthcoming on that, we could not complete a transfer of land. But with the new owners, we've been involved with them from before they were even purchasing that land. They have agreed to all of the terms, and we've just told them that we will take the agreement with them to City Council on the same night that we bring the project forward for either a approval of construction or a denial to go to construction.
Council has to approve the
Council has to
acquisition costs?
Right, so with council doing all that on the same night, it's either all a yes or it all falls apart. And I really hope that that does not happen. This is a very important and very beneficial project for safety as well as capacity issues in the area.
The last comment I had was, as you know, we've made substantial commitments to the city with regard to sewer improvements on 12th Street and along 41, and also for this project and the other project having to do with Mullen Avenue. We're analyzing our projections now to see if we've got additional funding from tax increment that we can project realistically through the closing time of this district. So I think at this point we couldn't commit to adding additional funds, but we'll have the data available to us to consider that as you go forward with your bidding process and seeing how those come through.
I appreciate that consideration. You know, we do understand the agreement that we have with you, and there's ways for me to look at the funding sources I have available to make things work as far as a recommendation to City Council. But again, if you can consider additional, we appreciate the consideration of that. Any other questions on this project? Okay. Going down to Mullen and Cecil access safety. This project looks at access on Mullen Avenue between Cecil Road and, I forget the name of the road right now, just a quarter mile to the west of Cecil Road. This is in front of Walmart. Historically, we've talked with you before. We've got about 7.4 collisions per year. This is more than double what we were just recently talking about up at Poleline and Cecil Roadway. and about 4.8 collisions per year at Cecil Road and Mullen Avenue itself. Main reason for the collisions in this area, you have a high volume of traffic that's making right turns into Walmart. We tend to get queues that build up, and then as people get impatient because there's not a gap in traffic, they make that left turn and they don't see that vehicle coming because it's obscured from traffic already on Mullen Avenue. We get T-bone type collisions. Those tend to produce higher collision or higher damages to vehicles and are more likely to produce injuries. Currently, the location in that stretch, there are 4 driveway approaches that have restricted left turns. People cannot make left turns from the side businesses onto Mullen Avenue. Our proposal that we're moving forward with is to restrict left turns at 3 more locations, where the Walmart location will be converting into a 3/4 turn movement. We'll still allow left turns into the Walmart and Burger King site, and people can make right-ins and right-outs. They will not be able to make a left turn onto Mullen. That should get rid of a majority of the collisions at that location. How we're going to do that, we're going to construct and extend the existing curb and median island out to that location to provide a physical barrier to making left turns. We're going to modify the existing island so that it can handle traffic volumes up through the year 2030. We project that around the year 2030, additional improvements will be needed at the intersection of Cecil and Mullen Avenue, probably requiring the relocation of traffic signals and possibly additional turn lanes on the north and south legs. That was well beyond the scope of the original project. With this project, we will be modifying the existing signal timing to handle what we project to be the initial changes in traffic, and then we would be going back and adjusting that as we see what really happens compared to what the model was projecting as to how people tend to drive through the area. There was some questions that was brought up by the Urban Renewal Agency at the last time we discussed about how the businesses on the north side would be able to get over to Cecil Road. There is a drive aisle that does exist between the bank, the retail center that has Jimmy John's, and then you have the one with Papa Murphy's and Edward Jones that goes out to Cecil Road. And then with the future development of the parcel to the north, that would provide an additional access onto Cecil Road with full movements. Walmart on the south side already has a full access movement over by the Great Clips and Smoke Shop on the corner, and then they also have their main entrance a little bit further to the south and out of the screen. This just shows an image of what we're putting in the Walmart parking lot or in their driveway approach as far as a positive barrier to prevent people from making left turns. It's been designed to also accommodate our snowplow operations on Mullen Avenue to the best ability possible. And then this is just a cross-section showing the 6-inch raised curb, and we are going to be providing delineators within that curb at strategic locations to help reinforce to drivers areas not to drive over the curb, and to also help our snowplows know where to go when it's snowing, or people at night getting a little bit better idea so that they don't hit the curb, even though that is a well-lit section of roadway. Any questions that you might have on this project?
So if someone is leaving Walmart going westbound,
Yes.
what is the suggested route?
They would go over to Cecil Road up to the traffic signal and make a left turn with the light. We've analyzed the projected when we did the initial analysis, we looked at how many vehicles were making left turns onto Mullen from Walmart now, and we put that traffic over onto Cecil Road to see if we needed to do anything other than just signal timing modifications, which we did not. Initially in our concept, we were thinking of taking the 2 northbound lanes of Cecil and making them both a dual left turn lane. We did not need to do that.
Can you go back to your slide a few slides back? So if you're going west on Mullen, can you not turn into those businesses, or do you have to go to Cecil to then follow that green line?
You can make right turns in at any of those locations.
Okay.
Those left turn arrow restrictions, all that does is that Yeah, I apologize, I wasn't clear enough.
That's okay.
We're just prohibiting left turns from the businesses onto Mullen Avenue.
Okay.
One thing I did not cover on this was the projected cost on this. And let's see, last slide. Time frame on this one is basically the same as the previous one, with the bidding, first advertisement this week, tomorrow, bid opening in April, recommended award in April. The start of this project could happen in May or June, and we have substantial completion within the construction documents by July 29th of this year. This should be a fairly quick project to construct. The engineer's estimate on that is at about $125,000.
Yeah, and I think the modifications you've made to the plan are very effective, and I appreciate that. Just one reminder, the timeline is finite. We have to close the district. We can't disperse tax increment
Absolutely.
beyond the dates that we've agreed to, so.
That's why we put in the July 29th on this one, and we're pushing the limit as much as we can on the school. Usually a roundabout's about 55 to 65 days to construct, and we're getting substantial completion around that 55-day time period. But, one of the things that we will also look at, if needed, is making sure that we're expending the dollars on the stuff that the Urban Renewal Agency is doing first. But secondary, and I also think it's a very important part, is the school has that concern. They want that roundabout open before school starts. It affects their operations, but having an active construction zone like that around a school when school starts and you have kids walking plus young drivers coming in there, the sooner we're out of there, the better it is safety-wise.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rob. All right. Next up is staff report and updates.
Thank you, Vice Chair. The agency's 2021 annual report was presented Tuesday evening to the City Council as required under Idaho Code 50-20, and public legal notification was made in the Coeur d'Alene Press in yesterday's newspaper. The following are a few items of interest from the city's February project report for the Post Falls Chamber Board meeting as provided by the city administrator. In the downtown district, the Millworks site plan is approved for the first phase of townhouse construction. On the south parcel for 60 townhouses, 18 have been issued, 1 multifamily, which has been issued, and 1 mixed-use building, which has been issued. And I realize it would have been helpful to have had a visual here for you of that plan. Sorry I don't have that handy for you, but I suspect you recall from our previous conversations that project. In the downtown district also, the River City Urology Building, to be located at the northwest corner of 3rd and Spokane. The site plan and building has been approved. And out in the Post Falls Technology District at the northwest corner of Highway 41 and Prairie, this is across Highway 41 from the shopping center that we've talked about, but on the west side of Highway 41, the Junction subdivision that is being handled by the Douglas Group. They have requested to subdivide 301 acres into 53 CCS lots, or community commercial services lots, and technology mixed, or TM zone lots. Lastly, myself, the city administrator, and community development director will be meeting just to have a general discussion about the city's scheduling of quarterly meetings with Project Drive. That will include our agency, and to set up quarterly meetings with city staff and the Urban Renewal Agency. Our initial discussion points will include setting base agendas and an invitee list for each meeting, the sharing of reports and information related to private development proposals, including project timing and scope, and in general, the relationship between the city and agency. I'll report to you on that next time.
One question, did you get any questions from the city council after your presentation or during your presentation?
I did not.
Thank you.
We did receive the commendation of Mayor Jacobson as far as how Post Falls Urban Renewal Agency operates, and he was gracious in his comments.
Thank you.
Always nice. Any other questions or comments? If not, I guess this would be also your time. Commissioner, comments? Anything? No happy St. Patrick's Day?
I do have a couple of comments. We are working hard to put together an OPA with the folks out in the new Pleasant View district, and we're going to continue to pursue that, and I would like to see us continue to move forward with the OPAs on, certainly with the folks doing the initial development in the downtown district over by the mill site, as you know, with as much speed as we can. And then to remind the public that we have closed the district last year at Expo, and in 2022 we will be, or early 2023 we will be closing 2 large districts, Center Point and East Post Falls, and tax increment from those districts, which is substantial, will be going back to all the taxing entities. So watch what they do with it.
Thank you for that. My only comment is just wishing Chairman Baltzell a speedy recovery from his surgery and sending him the very best. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I think that's just a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.